Hey guys, it's Connor with Invictous Yugioh, and I'm here with my post-commentary for my finals match against Scorps in the OCG TCG tournament we had this weekend. And I was playing Clownblade, and I was up against the Tellarknights, and it was pretty good. My deck was pretty much built for against Cyber Dragons and Satellarknights, just because I knew that we weren't going to be seeing a lot of the good OCG decks, just because we were using the TCG ban list. So I wasn't really worried about stuff like Infernities or Necros or stuff. But I opened pretty subpar. Pretty much, I run a lot of the spellcaster spam. So pretty much, if I open a spellcaster, I have cards like Gigabyte and Nefarious Archfiend, which I can use to stop a lot of their plays. But I opened a pretty good control hand with a Fiendish Chain and a Veiler, so I was pretty comfortable with anything that he did. But yeah, I pretty much we had a 3 round tournament because only 8 people were there. But I ended up playing against Cyber Dragons in the first round, Satellarknights in the second round. So yeah, so I've been maining 3 Mistake in the deck just because it wrecks the Cyber Dragon spell card, it wrecks the Talon It's pretty good against a lot of decks, so playing 3 of it. Yeah, actually looking back at it, Mistake was definitely the MVP card from this tournament. And yeah, so a really slow start from the Satellarknight player here, just because I was able to drop that Mistake. Looking back on it, I am questioning the me not using a Fiendish Chain because I end up taking a lot of damage because I choose to use my Fiendish Chain last. But just the fact that if I don't show the Fiendish Chain, I want the Fiendish Chain to get bounced back from Trigger if he ever makes a Trigger. So I decide to hold it until last so it doesn't get hit by an MST or something. But here I draw into my Hat Tricker, which is one of my favorite cards because it has crazy effects that no one knows about, especially being able to become a 3300 attack monster. But since I did draw into the Spellcaster, I can now drop the Nefarious Archfiend and the Gigabyte. I prefer Nefarious Archfiend Eater over Gigabyte just because I don't play any other Gigabyte targets for its effect that when it's destroyed I can grab a 1500 200. But Nefarious Archfiend Eater sometimes you'll like pop your own clown and get its effect and go off on your combo. So I play a 3 clown 2 gigabyte just because it's kind of a turbo deck that I play. Also, I'm not a big fan of the Photon Thrasher. But here I'm kind of thinking about what I want to play. I only play one set for the Nova combo, so I really want to preserve it against like a Alpha Nova or something. So seeing that he has 3 set cards, I know I'm probably not going to want to go for that right away. So I'm gonna go for the Lavolval chain here, and oh no, I go for Utopia. Pretty much yeah. So then we get to Trenchope. But Utopia is really good, and I don't think anyone else in the tournament realized that the 39 that comes out it's out in the OCG. I think it's like lightning or something. It pretty much becomes a 5,000 attack monster if Utopia's under it, and you have the Armides effect, so they can't chain anything to the attack. And it's really strong just for winning games, because when your opponent has like a Altair on the field or something, you attack over it for like 3,300 damage, and that's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, so here we're just talking about Torrential at 3, even though we're playing with the TCG ban list. But yeah, I was really hoping for the OCG ban list just because Clown Blade, since it is a control deck, benefits so much from Compulse and Torrential both being at 3. But it pretty much led to Infinity being abused a lot in the tournament, just because there's a lot fewer outs in the TCG than there are in the OCG. But yeah, so yeah, so he starts to pull some cards out. Again, I have all the negation I need for all of his stuff, but I do get to see the Regel, which is pretty big because some people play. I play Regel personally when I play Satel Knights, but Regel's so good because it gets over a lot of things. It gets over like Thunder King, and it gets over like Winda, and like a bunch of real problem cards. But I top deck the Instant Fusion, which because we are playing with the OCG means I have Nodin, which is just one of the more ridiculous cards in the format. So yeah, So I'm seeing if he has a Alpha Nova or a Vanities or something he wants to drop, but he doesn't. So I go in to drop the Nodin, which Nodin's really good. Again, the OCG has more outs to it than we do, but I grab the Nodin into one of my level 4s that are in the grave. And yeah, pretty much I play 3 Instant Fusion just for the fact that Nodin's so good. And yeah, so with the fact that my deck is just rank 4 deck, just the fact that I'm able to just throw out pretty much every card in my deck allows me to go into an Xyz monster. So it's really helpful. I was playing, since I couldn't play a lot of the control with the 3 Torrential, 3 Compulse, I did turn it into a turbo deck. And gotta go fast. So I'm kind of thinking about what Xyz I want to make. Hat Tricker's pretty good on its own. It stops a lot of things like Fairy, or it doesn't stop, but it benefits from stuff like Fairy Wind, Twister, stuff that would put counters on it, even the Clown itself. But we haven't really been able to see the Clown combo yet, so hopefully I get to see it. Now here I'm thinking that I should probably just attack with Nodin, but then I reread Instant Fusion, and I see that you can't attack with the monster, you Instant Fusion. So I decided to go back into an Xyz again. Um, so when I was looking at building the deck, I was looking at a lot of the Floodgate cards, so or not more control cards like Light Imprisoning Mirror and Mistake and stuff. And I kind of made the decision that even though they hurt my deck, they hurt other decks a lot more. Like I'm not able to use my Damage Juggler's search while I have Mistake up, and Light Imprisoning pretty much slows down my deck a lot. But when I look at the like Satel Knights and Cyber Dragons and stuff, and Shaddols and stuff, it hurts their decks a lot more. So I've decided to side Light Imps and main Mistakes just because of how strong they are with the control. But yeah, so here I'm going to Levolve Chain into a Thousand Blades, and you're going to see the first half of the Clown Blade combo. So pretty much what the Clown Blade combo is when Clown gets sent to the when Enter Mage Clown guy gets sent to the grave, I can pay 1,000 to special summon it again, and I play Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades, and when I take damage and he's in my grave, I can special summon him in attack position. So it allows me to once per turn get 2 monsters out on the field. So usually it goes and makes a really fast Xyz, which usually ends up being Ptolemaeus or Castel or Lavalval or something. But yeah, so we're just going to see the attack here. Now, the Satellite lists that I've been playing a lot against in like ranked and stuff have a lot of battle traps. So I was really worried about running into battle traps against here, but I was pretty confident that I could just attack in. I have the Fiendish Chain set for whatever nonsense he wants to pull out. And since I know he has the Regel in hand, I know he's gonna kill my Lavalval Chain because Fiendishing a Regel isn't the best choice because there are so many better cards to hit and so many more powerful effects that they have. But yeah, so I got the first half of my combo down. It's a lot better to, well, it's 100% better to send your Heroic Challenger before you send the Clown, because if you're sending the Clown first, you don't get its, you put it on the field, but then you don't get the Heroic Challenger's effect. And if your opponent decides to attack over your monsters that are on the field, then you get your Thousand Blades anyways. So yeah, Thousand Blades, really good card. I've seen a lot of people running like Assault Halberd and Thousand Blades in the deck, but just I don't know. There's a lot better turbo cards that you can play than Assault Halberd. Like for what Assault Halberd does, I'd rather play Photon Thrasher. But yeah, so he summons the Altair here and I Fiendish Chain. So we know what the one card in his hand is. It's the Regel, so we can kind of play around that. But I draw into the Clown, which is a pretty rough considering that I'm not going to be able to do much. Um, you really want the Clown in grave just so that you can start your combo. So I'm going to detach the Nodin from my Laval chain and send the Clown. And then we'll be able to see the nonsense that is the Clown Blade combo, which really makes the deck what it is as a rank 4 spam deck. So we get to see the Trick Clown here being sent to the grave, and then activate its effect to pay 1,000 life points and special summon it, and its attack and defense becomes 0, which is inconsequential since it's just going to become an Xyz material. And yeah, so with that 1000 damage, I'm going to be special summoning 1000 blades, and both of these effects are once per turn, so it's not like I can make like three Castels and just like continually recycle the combo. But so it's not super broken, but you get to see that is the mainstay of the combo. And yeah, so we got we're looking at what we want to make. Now I was thinking about making again. I really want to protect my one infinity. So into three back row, I really didn't want to make infinity, but I think right here I go against my better judgment and just try it because right now I'm in the winning position. I know he has Regel in his hand, so if he does pull out a like warning or something, I'll be safe in making it. But I do decide to attack first just to avoid the infinity, or not the infinity, the alpha nova. And yeah, so the attack goes through. So I know he has no chance to alpha nova here. So I feel a little bit safer in thinking that my Ptolemaeus is going to resolve. And yeah, so here I'm just going to overlay all three into my Ptolemaeus. I know a lot of people prefer to use the 2xyz materials and then on end phase go into or in end phase attach the third material so that at the start of your turn you can drop the infinity. But yeah, so here he activates bottomless. I get kind of confused because Ptolemaeus has 550 attack and it's under the 1500 requirement for bottomless. So I kind of get to see the bottomless, which uh, a less serious player would have gone for his play anyways and just let the bottomless resolve. But I chose to play it a little more cautiously. So I think about do I want to make diamond and get my diamond bottomless? Do I want to just keep my Ptolemaeus? Like what do I want to do? So I end up after some debate going to end phase and equipping my oh yes I think I do. I end up equipping my Ptolem. Well, is this? Hmm. I don't actually remember. In pretty much the exact same situation happens in both games. So I'll watch as I see what happens here. But yeah. So one of the tricky things about when you're playing Clownblade is like right now you can think that I'm not in as good a position as I think I am, just because it's my three cards to his four cards, and he has three unknowns. But knowing that I can just continually recycle the Clownblade engine, I feel pretty safe in just being able to make stuff. So yeah, so here I do. I special in the Deltaros and put it underneath the Ptolemaeus, just so that when I eventually go into Infinity, it will um, be able to negate more. And yeah, so Clownblade does get its effect, or I do get the Clown's effect whenever it goes to the grave, because it's not when it's like sent to the grave by it's just when it's sent to the grave. So the effect just continually loops. So here I'm not sure if I want to there's a thing I could have done if he activated the effect, where if he summons, I can chain Ptolemaeus effect, and then he chains Regel's effect, and he wouldn't be able to bottomless the Nova summon because the Nova summon isn't chain link isn't the last chain link. It'd be the Regel effect or the Regel summon. So I was thinking about it, but then I realized that he can't bottomless the Nova, but he would bottomless the Infinity. So I also he doesn't activate the Regel effect, so there's really no way I was going to be able to do that. But it's a good thing to keep in mind. A lot of people will like summon a monster, will like summon them, will like activate MST and chain a special summon, like MST chain call the haunted, because then they can't bottomless because bottomless would be trying to bottomless the MST, and it doesn't work. So I do draw into the MST here and hit the bottomless. He still has three set cards, so it's still a relatively large gamble, but I do decide to go for the Nova here. And yeah, it's interesting to note as well. It actually came up in my second game that Ptolemaeus is a quick play effect. So if your opponent decides to like Fiendish Chain on like summon or something, you can chain its effect. And here we see the Nova into Infinity, which is a pretty ridiculous combo, especially against a lot of decks that like don't have many main deck outs to such a big monster. Like when a Satellarknight player is drawing one card at a time, it's really hard for them to get out of it unless they have like a Nova set or something. And like even like if he draws Regeki, I negate it. He has no monsters. If he draws into a Deltaros, I negate it. He has no monsters. But yeah, so here because I detached the Clownblade engine, I was able to do my Clownblade shenanigans. And yeah, you always want to put the clown in defense mode because if he does like decide to flip a vanities like after Clownblade's effect resolves, you don't want the zero attack monster in attack position. So just a little bit of common sense. So yeah, yeah. So just he's just figuring out that I take 1,000 from the clown. But yeah, so there's some really cool synergies with Thousand Blades. That's not just the clown. You can play cards like Twister or Fairy Wind and stuff where you take damage in other ways and you can summon it. But really, the strength of Clownblade is being able to get the two monsters out. So you really want to get the special summon of the clown out in order to make your Xyz plays. So here we're attacking for 27 and then 13? Yeah, 13. So, yeah. And he draws, and I win. So now we get to see a little bit of my side deck. As you can see, my side deck was pretty much Satellarknight and Cyber Dragons. So I was playing 2 Light Imp, 2 Full House, 3 Galaxy Cyclone, a Dark Hole, 2 Archfiend Mistress, I think it's called, 1 Thunder King because we were using the TCG list, 3 Flying Sea, and an Effect Veiler. Pretty much, of course, Flying Sea, amazing against the Tellarknights, just because it turns off their plays for a turn, and also because I do play Counterattacking Sea can actually search my Flying Sea, which in some situations is really good, but because the Tellarknights don't play any spell cards that special summon, my special summon effect of Counterattacking Sea never resolves, so I decided to side it out. And I decided to side in Galaxy Cyclones just because they're great. And I decided to put in 1 Full House. Full House is really good because I'm playing 6 continuous trap cards. So if I have to, I can like Full House 3 of his set cards, 1 of his face up cards, and like 1 of my face up cards, just to clear out his back row. And also, if I do need to get like a mistake, like my damage jugglers search off, I can Full House my own mistake. But yeah, so decided to side out some stuff, and so pretty confident in my side deck. It does make my deck better. I actually, looking back on this, I made a mistake. The reason why you play Reinforcement in the Army is because people play Goblinberg, but I decided that I didn't want to play Goblinberg because when I was testing, I was drawing a lot of hands like with Goblinberg and no other monsters. So I took Goblinberg out but left the Reinforcement in. So I realized that when I was siding and went, oh, um, Photon Thrasher's not a good roto target, so I took Reinforcement out. But yeah, so you get to see the I got to go first. He let me go first, which was shocking since I do play Mistake, and he really wants to resolve his effects. But yeah, so here I'm just going to make Lavolva Chain. I wanted to get my damage juggler's effect as soon as possible because since I knew I had 2 mistakes set, I knew I wasn't going to be able to resolve it unless I did it on my first turn. So here I send my 1,000 blades, send and detach a juggler, and then I get to use the juggler's effect. Now this is another reason why the enter mages are really good is because they're so consistent. Damage juggler can search me my hat checker or my clown just to get my play started, and it's really good. I'm not a huge anime person, but to the best of my knowledge, enter mages are used by the main character's father, and the main character's father is supposed to be like the super badass guy. And I'm glad finally a anime character has a good deck because I'm used to like random like elemental heroes and stuff which aren't really relevant now. But it's cool to see at the time the deck comes out, the anime is also considering it a good deck. And yeah, so he plays Prohibition, which just startles me because you never see Prohibition in competitive play, and it's even more startling. He calls Mistake because with three set cards, it's almost guaranteed that one of them is a mistake, and like I just chain Mistake because it doesn't affect cards that are already on the field, so I just activate Mistake. And here I'm really hoping for my full house because now he has one face-up spell card that I can hit with a full house. And yeah, I'm just the hope. I knew I was gonna win at this point just because I knew I had such a good matchup. But pretty much the whole goal was to I wanted to resolve a full house really badly, and unfortunately I didn't see full house. But it was a fun game nonetheless. Here he summons Altair, so I immediately assume that the set card is a Alpha Nova, but he decides to Book of Moon. So I wasn't. I that kind of put it into question whether or not that card's a Alpha Nova. I don't actually remember if it was an Alpha Nova or not, but I guess we'll see. So I draw into Foolish Burial, which is an amazing card in this matchup, just because it sends either your Perform Mage, or not your Perform Mage, oh, if it sends your Thousand Blades or your Damage Juggler to grave. Solves the same purpose as Lavalva Chain. So here I Galaxy Cyclone a set card, thinking it was a Nova, but it wasn't. It was a Fairy Wind, which, as I speak, talking about any card that takes damage kind of helps with my synergy. So we both take 900 for the Galaxy Cyclone Mistake and Prohibition, and I take 900, which, in a roundabout way, lets me summon my Thousand Blades. Funnily enough, but yeah, this is the kind of unknown synergy that you see with Perform Mages or Enter Mages. And yeah, I was really surprised to see. It must be a weird Satellarknight build because like people side Fairy Wind against Satellarknights because they place like Call the Haunteds and Oasises and Fiendish Chains. So like definitely did not expect them to play Fairy Wind. But here we see the Foolish Burial. I think I Foolish Burial into is it into Damage Juggler? Yes, I think I did go into Damage Juggler because then I get my because Mistake's gone now, I get my searches again. And I could have just like gone Foolish Burial into Clown and then special summoned Clown, and that would have put two monsters on the field, and I would have taken 1,000 damage, and then I would have summoned my third guy. Or what I could have done is I thin my deck by one card and add Hat Trick to my hand, which still puts three cards on the field, but I take 1,000 less damage, but my graveyard's a lot weaker. So there was kind of trade-offs here. I decided because he only had one set card, I wasn't really scared of it, so I just decided that I was going to go with this play. Also, seeing the Fairy Wind, I got kind of confused, so I thought Hat Trick would be really good in the eventuality that there was another Fairy Wind being played at some point because I another goal of mine was to try and get the hat trigger effect of removing the three counters. And yeah, for people who don't know, the effect of hat trigger is you can remove three counters from it, and it becomes 3,300 attack, and it gets counters every time you take damage. So usually it's like effect damage. I played against Chainburn one game, and it was pretty funny just being able to stack counters. And yeah, it's solid. So I made Deltaros here just because why not? I decided to Deltaros' back row just because I wasn't scared of Altair. Also, this was a good way of baiting out Alpha Nova if he had it, but nope, it's an Oasis. Personally, I would have. I'm not. Now that I think about it, I don't think he had any cards in grave. I originally thought that he should have chained it to like entry of main phase, but he didn't. My assumption is he had no monsters in his grave. Now that I look back at it, but yeah, I hit him for whatever amount of damage and passed my turn. Again, like looking at my field, it's not as strong as I think it is, but because I do have that grave stacking ability, it's pretty strong. So here I take my 1,000 damage and let my Clown Blade combo go. And again, it's just the ability to just throw out so much garbage is amazing. Because now, even if he did draw into like an Altair or something, he'd have trouble getting over it. But Yeah, and once again, I opened double mistake this game, which is pretty much a win condition against the Tell Knights. So I knew he was pretty upset when I showed him the second mistake. And yeah, this pretty much leaves him with no cards in hand, and I have my engine. So I pretty much win from this point, just being able to summon a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I was pretty fortunate in both the games to open mistake. Um, it was good overall. Um, Happy to see a lot of the stuff. Um, I decided not to side the light imps just because I knew I didn't need them, and also I didn't want to take away from my consistency by adding not great trap cards. Yeah. So here I kind of go, oh, that's the one monster in my deck I didn't want to draw, which again is kind of me why I'm leaning towards like getting rid of Photon Thrasher and maybe like upping the Goblinberg count, like the Archfiend count or the Gigabyte count, just because I do want to like draw into playable cards. It's kind of like the Infernity idea. I do draw a lot of parallels between this deck and Infernities, just because a lot of it's just depleting your hand and just gotta go fast. But yeah, so here I go Ptolemaeus, end phase. I eat up my diamond, just because why not? It lets me access into Nova next turn, and then eventually Infinity. And yeah, so pretty much from this position with a mistake up, I know I've pretty much won. So this is just me trying to play as safe as possible. So here on draw phase, kind of like an idiot, I decide to go into Infinity, or into Nova, and then as soon as I throw down the Nova, I go, oh yeah, that doesn't really work because I can't put Infinity out this turn. But I still, because I did detach, I do get my combat effects. And this is why the deck is just so ridiculous. Because I can like detach on his end phase, which I didn't do here, and it ended up costing me my Nova. But I can like detach on his end phase, get a Nova on the field, and summon two guys, and it's like absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, because I decided to drop the Nova, like for no reason, I ended up losing my Nova, and that was a huge misplay. It actually brought him back into the game. But yeah, for looking back on the play, I probably wouldn't have gone and done the Clown Blade combo that turn because I wanted to resolve my Photon Thrasher. But here I drew into a playable card, so it pretty much allowed me to drop my second Thousand Blades. He's another reinforcement target. You kind of don't want him in your hand, so he's probably not the best reinforcement target, but it's something to keep in mind. I think I've probably searched him 2 or 3 times just to make an Xyz. But yeah, so here I'm kind of thinking like, how defensive can I get? Because I have lost my Nova, so that was my only way into Infinity. So I decided to attack for 26 because it's more attack than I have with any of my other Xyz monsters. And I go into a Utopia here, just because Utopia. So I use one of my clowns. Oh, they're going to 3 here. What? Oh, this was, yeah, I went into Utopia the first game. Oh, oh, yeah, so I decide to go into Utopia eventually, just not with all 3. But yeah, so Utopia into Utopia the Lightning is really strong, just because Utopia the Lightning is such a great card. But yeah, so I'm kind of thinking about it. What you want to do is you want to have a Thousand Blades and a Clown under the same Xyz, because if for some reason that Xyz dies, you get the combo. But if for some reason like you put your 2,000 Blades under the Utopia and he just kills the Clown, you get your Clown back, but then you don't get 1,000 Blades. And then when he kills the Xyz monster that has the 1,000 Blades under it, you have 2 dead 1,000 Blades. So here I'm in a pretty good position. I've got my crazy Utopia. I think about going into Lightning, but Utopia is a lot safer because if he can run over Utopia, he can't run over Utopia with its effect. So I decide to not go into Lightning because I know no deck in the Satellarknight deck gets hurt by the Armides effect of not being able to chain effects during the battle phase. So yeah, I kind of just see it. He flips Alshem. Alshem only gets its effect when it's flip summoned, and since it's only flipped for damage calc, it doesn't count as flip summoned. So I don't take the 1,000. Like even if I did, I I would have probably not tried to activate its effect, even if it did work, just because I would get my Clown Blade stuff going again with 1,000 burn. And again, it's just ridiculous, all these like crazy teeny tiny scenarios that happen with the Clown Blade deck. Yeah, so again, just making sure that Utopia attack goes through and then hitting him for 13. Really, at this point, with my mistake up, I just wanted to have as grind game as possible. And now that I have my one breakthrough skill set, I know that I'm pretty safe because even like if he goes altar into Exciton or something, I can break through the altar. And yeah, so he tries to activate duality, doesn't work because I have mistake. And I saw the stuff that he did. And none of those cards would have helped him. I still won either way. And yeah, that was the match. Pretty much, pretty straightforward. But yeah, so yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time.